So Henshaw here, Constitutional Crisis Channel. This video is going to be a bit of a departure from what we normally do, but I'm telling you, I have had it up to here with all the crap that's going on here in California lately, especially in the Merced case. And I am now going to be writing a letter to Jefferson Sessions back in Washington, D.C. It appears things have settled down there. He's going to be in office for a little while. And demand that if they're going to be as good as their campaign rhetoric would suggest, and happily we have Gorsuch on the bench, this may help too, but demand with documentary evidence and support that he bring a grand jury indictment against the Chief Justice of the California Supreme Court, Tani Cantil-Sequoyah, for treason to the Constitution. Because that's exactly what she's committed, and she's not the only one. In theory, I could go after all 7 of them, because they're kind of the executive board of the Judicial Council, who apparently promulgated this blank form that we got in Merced that somehow magically transformed, invoking the rights secured by the Constitution into your request has been denied. And I sent a letter to her about that. It got answered by a subordinate, quote unquote, answered, without any apparent recognition of the magnitude of the issues that are involved here. My friend was denied each and every opportunity to be heard in her own defense, to set a record for an appeal. They presumed from day one she was incompetent because apparently she didn't have an attorney. And if that's the case, what I say to you people is, how can you presume incompetent in that area and yet presume she's competent to form the criminal intent to commit the crime? I'd love for you to try to explain that to a jury of 12. I'd love to hear it. So that said, in addition to this, she quote-unquote denied my petition for a non-statutory federal writ of habeas corpus 4 years ago on the grounds that the questions presented were beyond the jurisdiction of California courts as they appear to present federal questions. Those of you who follow my videos know that I've discussed this before, and if you get my document packets, and I'll stop here for a moment to advise you, you can get my document packets, and new subscribers get a 10% discount, and you'll see all of this in there. And by the way, while we're talking about that, I would appreciate it if you would like my videos and tell your friends. And you can check down below, we'll give you information how to get me at my website, ccaspari@live.com. I'll get you information about my documents and things like that. But here we are. And she denied this, quote-unquote, but she didn't do it. This was denied by a deputy clerk of the court. I've got documentary proof of all of this. And she has to know. She's been in law school for, what, 4 years, 6 years? She's the head of the Judicial Department of the Territorial Government of California. And she doesn't know that the Constitution mandates this concurrent jurisdiction exists and that the Supreme Court in the United States has recognized it. So Jefferson Sessions is going to be getting an earful from me about this. And I'm going to ask him flat out, if you're not going to do it, can you please tell me the protocols, so that I can go before a federal criminal grand jury as a private attorney general, Section 35 of the Judiciary Act of 1789, one statute at large 73, and I'll go in there and get the indictment myself, and I'll prosecute her if I have to do it. I mean, that's the point we're reaching here. If they're going to tell us we have no rights, and in the face of the case law that I have, and you'll see, those of you that get my documents, especially my trial court packet, the Supreme Court of the United States has summarily denounced all of this crap. They say you can't do any of it, and yet here they are 150 years later still doing it. This is what needs to stop. And you can help by getting documents and using them in your own case and getting dismissals, if nothing else. And if we get cases decided on the record, as I think we're going to do in Merced, this will go a long way to putting the DMV out of business, exactly where they should be, unless you're IBM Corporation or Guarantee Trust Company of New York. I mean, those are corporations, and they're bound by the statutory laws of California. We're not. And when I say we, I don't limit that to lawful de jure jus sanguinis free white state citizens. I mean all of us. Because those of you who aren't, and especially the freedmen that were given 14th Amendment citizenship, which is absolutely worthless, And you can argue that and say, wait a minute, we didn't consent to this either. There's nobody in the course of the entire process, of doing the civil rights laws and enacting the amendment that were of African origin. You don't have any consent of the government there. That's the argument you should be making. You can then come into a court as a member of a sovereign nation and say, wait just a minute here, with this status you don't have any jurisdiction. And you can do the same thing we're doing and get the same results. That's what's exciting about all of this. But that said, I'm going to do my level best to get her indicted, and she won't be the only one by the time I get through here. Although settling some of my cases, I might be inclined, to throw in, criminal charges and say, okay, if we make a fair settlement here, I'll do that, because for me the priority is my work. And that overcomes everything else. If I get enough to take care of me from the South Carolina case the rest of my life, that facilitates doing my work, getting the word out there more quickly to a lot more people, and getting this nation and republic back to where it should be. It's never going to be perfect, don't misunderstand. I think it can still be done even at this late date, and particularly with the issues that I advocate and I present, and which have been unopposed for 4 decades already. So that said, I'll report back to you if and when I hear from Jefferson Sessions, and we'll see one way or the other. And at the conclusion of this, I'm going to call Tani out and say, listen, why don't you answer some of these questions? Do it yourself directly. You don't at this moment in time have to do it on the record in a court case, although you're going to be getting a couple of those where you not only can do it, but should do it. And tell them what the law is. That's what you're supposed to do there, is tell people what the law is, just like the Supreme Court has said under Marbury versus Madison. You have a similar duty here, and it's about damn time you did it, and let people know what the truth is, and we can take it from there. Thank you.